Hi, I'm Dr. James Dottin, Professor of Business at Middlesex Community College at the Lowell City Campus in Lowell, Massachusetts. Today we will have the great opportunity to view student scholars' research work. Why don't we take this time to sit back and relax and see what they have presented from a term of research that they have gathered. Thank you.
Alright, my name is Jonathan Magaha, and I'm doing my PowerPoint on cell phone advancement, primarily some key focal points in history and development through the years. So for the overview, I'm going to talk about the first cell phone ever made, which is the Dynatec. The ability to text, which came up quite a while after that, taking pictures, email, and 4G. The first cell phone was invented by a man named Martin Cooper, and he made the first cell phone call in Midtown Manhattan on April 3rd, 1973, and it was called the Dynatec. And as you can see in the picture, it was very large. It weighed 2.2 pounds and was 10 inches long. And Martin Cooper was actually competing against a man named Joel Engel, who worked for Bell Labs, and Martin at the time was working for Motorola, and they both were racing to kind of complete the first working cell phone first, and Martin won, so he's known as the first man to invent the cell phone. The next milestone in cell phone history is the invention of text messaging, also known as SMS, which is short message sending. And the first text message that was sent by a man named Neil Papworth on December 3rd, 1992. And he worked for SEMA in the UK, and he sent Merry Christmas on December 3rd, 1992 to one of his colleagues. And that was the first text message ever sent. And shortly after that, in 1995, T9 technology was invented, which is the type of texting on the phone which it remembers your past texts and the letters that you push on the keypad to remember like words and out of the numbers, basically. And shortly after that, in 1997, Nokia invented the first QWERTY keyboard, which is the full keyboard on the phone. And despite rapid text messaging improvements in the 90s, it was still very impractical because the providers, basically, it was very costly to send text messages between providers, and it wasn't very practical until it was 1999 when the providers made you able to cross through providers and text to any other provider. And that's when text messaging really came off a year after that in the 2000s, and that's when everyone, kind of college kids and everyone was kind of getting into it, and everyone wanted and practically said they needed a phone that could text, especially younger kids. So then camera phones were the next big installment, and the first camera phone was the Sanyo SCP-5300 in 2002, and at the time it cost $400. And,
look at that POS.
The camera phones, that started a large trend, especially in Tokyo. All the providers and cell phone manufacturers kind of trying to race to basically produce the biggest, best resolution camera on their cell phones at the time. And some manufacturers actually produced cell phones at the time that looked more like cameras than they did cell phones, that would fold out to the side and look like actual camcorders. And after a while, that kind of went out of style, though, especially with the new generation cell phones, such as the iPhone and stuff like that, because it started inventing phones that had 8 megapixel cameras, and it started becoming just more of a trend for practical things, like iPhone, other than just making large cameras on phones. Here's the iPhone camera. iPhone actually claims that every day more photos are taken with the iPhone than any other camera, and I believe it because everyone uses their cameras now on their phones other than real cameras a lot of times nowadays. So smartphones, that comes with the iPhones as well. This is when you're able to email on your phone. You have apps where you can pretty much do anything. Like you said earlier, you can have GPS on your phones, you can chat with people face to face, you can go on the internet, and nowadays practically do anything you can imagine on your phone with all the different apps out there. and see you.
Jonathan.